All right.
Good afternoon, and thank you to everybody who's joining us for this week's episode of 4-Minute Fridays. We'll warn you in advance, as always, we'll be over 4 minutes, but we'll try and keep it quick. And I'm here with both my son, Tino, and our medical director of clinical operations, Trushar Naik, who's here to give us kind of an update and a update of what's going on with the construction in our emergency department.
All righty. Thanks, Mike. I will take it away here. Yes, thanks for the intro too. Yeah, I'm Trushar Naik, Medical Director of Clinical Operations here. Really excited to be here with you today, giving you a brief virtual tour of our new emergency department space. We're crazy excited. We get to get this space up and running and realize like all the benefits that may come with a new modernized space. We've been on a journey here at Christ to modernize all of our emergency department spaces. A few years ago, we opened up a brand new 22-bed pediatric emergency department. A couple years ago, a new triage and waiting room space, and now we're excited to see the bulk of the new construction come to fruition, and that's the adult main emergency department. We'll get the first half of that in March of 2022 with full completion at the end of 2023. And just for a little bit of historical perspective, if you were to think of like an archetype of emergency medicine, you'll probably think of, Advocate Christ Emergency Department in its current form. It's a space that was built decades ago, really for half the volume that it was intended to see. It's an environment that at times can be chaotic, gritty, down to earth. You may get your hands a little bit dirty here. But really it's a place where you practice world-class emergency medicine. And we are excited, about, uplifting that. We kind of wear that as a badge of honor in ways here that, hey, look, we can deliver elite care in any circumstance, any environment, whether that be in a parking lot, a hallway, a cramped room, or a brand new, well-designed emergency department. So as we look to the future, as we think about, continuously elevating our care model, continuously improving, we are excited to kind of realize some of the benefits that modernization of our facility will bring, both for the patient care, the patient experience, and really to our whole ED family. So let's jump to it. Here's a quick view of some of our current charting spaces and some of our resuscitation areas, and we'll show you a couple of screenshots of what it will look like in the coming months. So yeah, cozy is a good word. This is just a schematic, a big overview of what the new footprint looks like. Takeaway here is that there's 65 newly designed emergency department spaces, of which 10 are full resuscitation bays and a 10-bed vertical care lower acuity area. Conceptually, this is just broken down into several main zones with a bank of rooms surrounding a central team station physician workroom for maximum efficiency. Here's just a highlight of those same spaces and kind of the contents of each of those zones as you break them down. A few of the key features here in this new emergency department, I'll just point out a few. Our rooms are going to have a lot of capabilities, things like embedded dialysis capabilities, embedded telehealth capabilities, EICU monitoring. That's basically a telehealth ICU video screen that links to an Advocate Aurora telehealth capability for EICU. Things like, decontamination spaces. We've got pandemic readiness built into this space. Each of these zones can go into a negative pressure mode. Some features here for security and access control. All of our exits are going to be badge access controlled as well. And really, the design, it's a much larger footprint, but, it was designed with a mind to approximate essential care needs to the charting stations for maximum efficiency. So here you'll see a schematic, a slide that will highlight kind of a right sizing of the space to the care that we deliver, both for team stations, physician workrooms, patient care spaces, but also with some consideration to proximity to things like supplies and radiology that will help with some of the needs for efficiency. Here's a slide that kind of highlights some of that increase in space that's happening. On the left, you'll see some of our physician charting rooms. The yellow is like 2 of our current physician charting rooms embedded, overlaying the future, one physician charting room. Important note is that there's going to be 4 of these in the future. Kind of big takeaway here is that, hey, look, you'll see the square footage essentially increasing, doubling, more than doubling, the space that we'll have for physician charting spaces, doubling our workstations, and then a very similar concept for nursing here on the right, where you see the in yellow current existing nursing workstation overlaying the future zone 1 nursing station. And again, we've got 4 of these zones coming through. So really a really nice right sizing of space to the volume and type of care that we deliver. Here's a rendering that shows that. This is our zone 1 resuscitation area. And so you'll see here a nursing station. Nice open view, nice aesthetics here. Behind that nursing station is a medication room. Behind that is actually our physician charting room. And then in the very far rear is another nursing station, again, proximate location of essential needs kind of co-located together. Here's zone 3. All the zones have very similar concept, bank of rooms surrounding that central team-oriented station. A little bit of different shade and color for wayfinding here as well.
Trushar, I'd like to just point out too, like for people watching this, and know we talk so much about kind of our unique one-to-one teaching model as being a major plus of the program. And I think that's part of the reason why so much thought went into these charting room spaces, because it's more than just where we chart, it's where most of our teaching occurs, right? At the bedside and then the charting rooms. And so I think that was definitely a point of emphasis when designing this, is sort of maintaining or growing those spaces and with its teaching opportunity, I think.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll kind of point out a couple of those in a couple slides, looking at those spaces in particular too. Here's just one of our standard exam rooms, and you might look at this and you'll say, oh yeah, that looks like an emergency department room. But there's some details in here that are important and are really, I think, going to elevate and facilitate, the type of care that we deliver. A couple things here. This is a standard exam room. On the back wall, though, on that head wall, there's multiple oxygen ports, vacuum ports, suction ports. It really makes it so that all of these rooms are resuscitation capable. Overhead surgical lights, LED lighting for reliability, new storage for supplies. Additionally, some of the technology features on the left, you'll see a screen. That's essentially a digital, a touchscreen computer that can serve multiple purposes. Nursing charting, physicians can use that as well. We've got like translator services embedded within the room. And then actually patient education can come, through that screen as well. On the right, you'll see an additional screen that should come to fruition at the end of the project, in which there will be a screen that helps to inform a patient of where they are in the arc of their care, team members that are associated with their care, orders that have been completed, and really like their status. Also within this room is kind of a staff terminal to allow for like one-touch paging and calling and alerts. So from a resuscitation, you could push in one button and call your X-ray tech to come to the room, things like that. External to the room is another piece of technology that links to Epic that will pull in isolation status for the room, code status for the patient. So a lot of cool features in here. And at the bottom corner, you'll see an overhead, depiction. Very similar stuff. This is our trauma bay. Very similar stuff embedded with a couple extra things. Here we have dual surgical overhead LED lights. We also have got an electrical boom, and that really helps with ability to move pieces of equipment in and out, and some cord management for safety as well. Also with embedded EICU telehealth capabilities in the corner of the room with a dual screen video. Here's an overhead picture of the same. And here's a quick rendering of our vertical care area and what that may look like for lower acuity care. So let's talk about those charting rooms. This is always of interest.
Can they play bear games on any of those giant screens?
Yeah, stadium seating. Maybe we can put this on a stage here. Let's talk about charting spaces. So we started to talk about this, and one of the cool things in the design of like all of these spaces is that we really grabbed input from physicians, nurses, and we actually did a full-scale mock-up of these areas to try to design, gather everybody's input. Hey, look, what do we want in here? What do we need? How do we build this in the best way? And I think we did a really good job of kind of threading the needle here of accommodating a bunch of various needs, both from an education standpoint, a patient care standpoint, a proximity to nursing type of standpoint. So we essentially have a physician charting space just adjacent to the nursing station, but also, a defined space to allow for, teaching and focus on physician level care needs. Here you'll see dual screen monitors for each of the workstations. On the left, you'll see a digital display board to house information such as, consult, consult call lists, phone numbers, other key pieces of process information. And on the back wall is really a whole wall that was designed with the intent for, teaching purposes. We've got a multimedia screen embedded on the back wall to be able to pull up images, reference materials, websites, and then that back wall is a full-scale whiteboard magnetic wall for, teaching purposes or other type of process information sharing. Here, this kind of just shows that, hey, look, in March of 2022, we'll get half of that space open, and then the full completion of the project in 2023. So we'll get some of this in stages, but we're well on our way. And in the coming months, we're going to get that first space open for patient care. So really, that's about it. Thanks for joining on this kind of virtual tour. Like I said, we're super excited. There's a lot of cool features embedded in here, and really excited to take what is a very excellent, elite, world-class care delivery, in existing day, and really just push that up, kick that up a notch with a facility and space that's just designed to elevate that to the next level.
We lose some of our grit and griminess, but I'm excited to have a space that kind of matches the level of care and education that we provide. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Mike and many of us who have been here for a while know that we're always going to be that, in our space. But nice to kind of bring that to the modern place.
Yeah. Thank you, Trushar, so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and really excited for March. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely.